everyone, it's Littlelolikat here, and I keep getting asked a lot recently about telling family members about being ABDL, and honestly I think this is a video I'm going to do on its own. It has been asked in the advice section, it has been asked kind of all over, and because I am so open about it, people tend to ask if my family know. And I have said more than once, but my family don't know. They think I'm childish, they know I've got toys, they know I have sippy cups. They know I dress a bit childish, they know I like pretty things, they know I like pastels. They know I have an obsession with fluffy things. But that's as far as they know. And honestly, that's as far as I'd ever want them to know. Because I wouldn't run around show my family my pants, so I definitely wouldn't run around show my family my diapers. I have no reason to tell them that I use pacifiers. I don't see any gain I could get out of that. And honestly, I think family's one of those things that it's not like a friendship. Friends are friends with you because they chose to be. Family are family because you happen to share genetics. And that's it. So you can have some parents that could be very understanding of it, but you can also have parents that will never really accept it, and brothers and sisters that will never accept it. You can have people that will disown you for it. Like, I have heard that, I think it's Blonde Boy, when Birdman kind of pushed his video because he was doing like the shock thing, being like, paedophilia, stuff like that. You know, typical online stuff. Basically, Blonde Boy, I heard his sister disowned him after it because she didn't want anything to do with him when she found out what he did in his spare time. And that's the fact of the matter, you can end up in that. A lot of people, when their family find out about it, they get sent to therapy, they get told that they're wrong, it adds added stress, stuff like that. And these are all things you don't really want to add to a family dynamic. I really, there's the odd case of family members that seem to understand it. Like, one example is, I believe Riley's Little Space told his parents, and obviously he has his own shop and his parents are supportive of it. But that's the only case I've ever heard of it working out. And the biggest thing you have to remember is that once you've said this out loud and told someone this aspect of you, you can't take it back. Regardless of what their reaction is, you can't take it back. So you need to be incredibly careful. You can tell them you're childish, you can tell them you prefer to eat like kids' cutlery just for diet reasons, you can tell them you use sippy cups because you're clumsy. But you can't take back, I wear diapers, but I don't have an incontinence issue. You can't take back any, that aspect. You can't rewind when they find out. And like I said, some people understand, and they're the odd case where people will understand, but I wouldn't suggest it. I wouldn't recommend it. Unless you have damn understanding parents that would be open to nearly anything, I wouldn't suggest it. Like I said, it's far easier to tell them you're childish, and your childish can just cover a lot of things. It can say that you find it more relaxing to play with Legos than you do to have a smoke or a drink. You can say that I'd rather just play some Pokemon Yellow instead of, go out to a club, stuff like that. You can say that I'm childish, so I sleep with a teddy bear because I find it as a comforter, and it's not that rare, it's actually very common to do. It's not that weird. All those aspects can be covered very easily, you just don't need to go to the full extent. And if you go to the full extent, there's no step back. So please, please, please keep it in mind, and if you are living at home like I am, be careful of what you're doing. Obviously don't just shove them out anywhere you can see. I don't stick diapers out where people can see, I don't have pacifiers out. I am respectful of the fact that I know my mum wouldn't accept that, my mum wouldn't be comfortable with it to that extent. She's happy with it to the extent it's at, that she can see, not to the extent. So you can drip and add little bits, But especially if you're living at home and you tell your parents this, that's kind of inviting bedroom raids, and it's something that I've heard frequently, that when people have came out they told their parents about it. Their parents then check their bedroom to look for this stuff because they misunderstand it, they see it as a form of like paedophilia, stuff like that, so they're like, why are you hoarding baby items, we need to get rid of it. And they will chuck your stuff out, and they will cause problems, and it will cause a rift, and you don't want that. And I know my family view is probably a bit skewed as well because of the fact that, quite frankly, if you weren't aware, I don't exactly have the greatest family, we don't get along most of the time. But I also know many people that have said these things and done these things and have lived to regret it, and have never really had that relationship with a sibling, a parent, really again. This isn't something that needs to be out and proud in front of your family. It's not. You need to really weigh up what you're doing and why you want to tell them. Sure, you might want to tell them every aspect of your personality, but you wouldn't tell them the sexual things. You wouldn't tell them, like, there are things that you will never tell your family. And if you tell your family everything, I'm sorry, but you have a really weird family. Like, so really just consider it. Be thoughtful. I don't suggest it. There are cases of people who have obviously, like, told their aunts, or have told a very trusted sibling, that sort of thing. But that sort of scenario is different. You know, if you know that you have a family member that is very, very open, then feel free to. That if you know you have a family member that won't tell anyone, that you can trust without a doubt, then feel free. But if not, I strongly, strongly push against it. Especially if you're younger, especially if you live at home, don't tell them. Don't tell them until you're older. I know people who have told them when they're in their 40s, and there are those who've been like, well, I'm kind of just a regressive personality. I left it to that. You don't have to be like ABDL, ABDL, ABDL. You can just tell them parts. And I hope this is helpful for you, and I know it's very like, it's kind of a negative one, but really I've seen so many people make that mistake that have regretted it and have never really managed to come back from it. So yeah, careful out there. And I will talk to you all later. Bye everyone!